Hey folks, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review, or I should say re-review, because I reviewed this film quite a few years ago, but that was only a 15-minute review. I wanted to go more in depth. Ever since I saw San Andreas, which I thought was a very forgettable piece of shit. Granted, it's not one of the worst films I've seen, because I've seen quite a lot of shitty movies. I don't know. Maybe it will be in my top 10. Who knows? I mean, the year isn't over. I haven't tallied it, all the movies I've seen up yet. So who knows? Maybe it will push into the top 10 if I can remember the fucking movie by the end of the year. But San Andreas, I did not care for at all. And I said, fuck it. You know what? I want to watch this film again because I love this film called Volcano. And it's one of those movies that gets a lot of shit. I mean, in fact, the guy was nice about it, but one of the first comments I got on my review, my rant on San Andreas, was he thought San Andreas was just as shitty as some of the 90s films like Deep Impact, Godzilla 1998, and Volcano, which I disagree with. I'm sorry. And I've never understood the hate for this film. I've never understood it. I think this is an entertaining movie. I think it's a fun movie. I think Tommy Lee Jones does a great job as the lead. He has some great capable actors in the supporting roles. Anne Heche, Gabby Hoffman, Don Cheadle, Keith David. Although Mick Jackson didn't make many films like this, and I thought he did a pretty damn good job, considering. Didn't I realize Neal H. Moritz, which that name, you look him up, he's produced a lot of pretty big movies recently. He produced this. Alan Silvestri did the score. This was a big film for 20th Century Fox, at least potential big films. I remember the VHS of Independence Day. There was a teaser for this film. That's how I first heard about this movie. And then caught this, not in theaters, but I caught it on home video, and I loved it ever since. I think it's a very underrated movie. I think it's one of the most underrated disaster movies out there. Dante's Peak grew on me. I forgot I actually reviewed Dante's Peak. But that film grew on me, and I like Dante's Peak. But of the two, I like this one more. Again, Dante's Peak grew on me. For me, I felt that film took a bit too long to get to the goods, so to speak, to get to the action. Here, I thought this was a pretty fast-paced flick. I thought the special effects were fantastic. I think the technical people behind this did a great job with these special effects. I thought, and I know this cost less than Dante's Peak, but I thought to make lava and a volcano in LA, that's a hard thing to do. I mean, Sci-Fi Channel tries to do shit like that almost every fucking week, and all those films suck ass, and their effects suck ass. To me, this is a good version of a Sci-Fi Channel movie. You know, all those crazy plots? If you had capable people, like a cast who seem like they give a fuck, and this cast to me does seem like they give a fuck up to be in the movie. You have effects teams that actually make it look real, and to me, I thought it looked real, unlike San Andreas, where just a bunch of CG 100% of the time. There's some CG work, but it's mixed in well, to the point it looks real. For example, the lava. Obviously, they didn't have real lava in there, but how they put both of, here's this, here's that, they put them together, and I thought it fit well. To me, that looks real. A lot of this film looked real to me. I would call maybe on one hand sort of an iffy shot. But the whole movie of San Andreas is one long iffy shot. That's the thing. I watched San Andreas, a brand new movie, and the entire city's crumbling down, and a fucking container that remind me of the fucking A-Team movie, where except it's on the it's on the ocean, the rocks. Oh shit! Here's these CGI containers falling down. I'm like, where's the fucking B. Baracus in the A-Team movie, and Liam Neeson, and Rampage Jackson, that was the guy's name, and all that shit from that shitty A-Team movie. This, though, I didn't watch this film. I'm still wowed by the special effects because a lot of it is real. And that's not the only reason I liked it. I mean, it's a very well done technical film. It's a damn better looking movie than San Andreas. So I don't understand the bitching about this movie, to be quite frank. I thought it also had, I mentioned the cast, I'm going to talk more about them. It also has a sense of humor that I think people kind of bypass. Because, yeah, the director did The Bodyguard, but he also did LA Story. And I've seen LA Story with Steve Martin, and that has a very interesting sense of humor to an LA Story. I mean, it's Steve Martin. One day, he looks at one of those signs that tells the traffic what's going on, and it starts telling Steve Martin what to do in the future, and then it just goes into sort of, I don't want to say surreal, but sort of a satire, fantasy, romantic comedy. It's an interesting movie, LA Story. It has an interesting sense of humor. And this is a film that, granted, it's not a comedy, it's not a parody of satire, I'm not going that far, but there are bits of humor in it that, I mean, hell, I remember the tagline, "The coast is toast." I mean, the song at the end, "I love L.A." We love it. You don't end your song. You don't end your movie with that song without noticing that there is at least a teeny bit of a tongue-in-cheek to this. At least a teeny bit. It's nice to see there's actually some good reviews on the DVD. Take the Ride, Volcano Has It All, Preview Channel, Pat Collins, this is the Volcano movie to see, Time Magazine, You'll Have a Hell of a Time, Syndicated Radio, the first great action film of the year, because I think this came out April '97. For some reason, I remember seeing a trailer that said it was going to come out in the winter, maybe the winter of '96 it was saying, but I don't know what happened. And I always hate when nose starts itching. But anyway, I really like the cast. I'm a big fan of Tommy Lee Jones. It was great to see him in this kind of role as Rourke, who is the head of emergency services in LA. He's with his daughter, played by Gabby Hoffman, and she's staying over with him. And again, I liked Tommy Lee Jones as an actor. I've liked him in many films, from The Hunted to, I'm trying to think, what's my favorite role of his? You know, The Fugitive I like. I don't even mind U.S. Marshals. This is definitely one of my favorite roles that he played, because, again, he didn't get to do movies like this much, which is a shame. And even Mick Jackson, I mean, after this, he just did pretty much TV work, or TV movies, or TV shows. But, I mean, he's trying to make eggs, like, "Hey, eggs are ready!" And he accidentally spills it, tells the dog, "Hey, clean up." Then it starts with the cornflakes. "Hey, cornflakes are ready!" And he's talking with Gabby Hoffman. And there's some nice, fun dialogue bits in this flick. Like the Gabby Hoffman, when Tommy Lee Jones asks her what to do in case there's another earthquake. And she goes, "Yeah, stick your head between your legs and kiss your ass goodbye." And he's like, "Okay, that's enough," and gets a babysitter. And you get these little supporting characters, which I know some people complain about, but I thought they were there to have something for the film, but they didn't take enough time to bother me. Like, you have this cop and this African American guy, and of course by the end they helping each other out. You have this female Asian doctor. Of course, Anne Heche is a geologist. And I don't mind Anne Heche in the film. I mean, if I want to see a bad performance from her, I'll see the Psycho remake. This, though, I thought she did a pretty good job, and I thought she was good looking, and I thought she was very capable in the role. I thought she did perfectly fine. Don Cheadle is also in the film. Can't forget that. Who works with Tommy Lee Jones as his job. And when Tommy Lee Jones comes in and talks, he's like, "Oh, I see you sitting behind my desk talking on my telephone." And Don Cheadle's like, "Yeah, it's as if I belong there or something." And pops in his lollipop. Like, there's some good back and forth between Don Cheadle and Tommy Lee Jones as well. They have some fun giving each other a little bit of shit or such. And this movie, I thought it went at a very fast pace, because it takes probably the 30-minute mark until the shit really hits the fan. But even before then, tunnel workers get fucked up. You have these heavy burns on them. And Tommy Lee Jones gets there. It's like, "What, you saying Steam did that?" and he wants to shut a portion of the subway down, but of course one other guy who runs that doesn't want to shut it down. And another guy says, "Oh, Ward, you just come here, you just always want an emergency, don't you?" And he's like, "No, actually, I enjoy motorsports, music, and the company of friends, sir." Like he's being a smart ass. And Tommy Lee Jones could do a lot better than me. And so Tom was like, fuck this. Him and a coworker goes in the tunnels, and they realize something was really going down because, oh, those rats are cooked. And then their stuff is melting. Oh, I'm cooked too. Yeah, you're cooking also. We gotta get out of here. And he pretty much says, hey, we gotta shut this place down. We gotta figure out what's going on in this park. Get everyone out of the park. And even then, like, Gabby Hoffman as the daughter, I think she did perfectly fine. She's with the babysitter, and she's talking about getting her nose pierced, and the babysitter says, oh, yeah, that's a nice look for you, especially when you sneeze. I think there's some fun bits of dialogue that made me chuckle. Did the characters at least a bit more personality than even the characters in San Andreas. There's Mr. Fantastic. He's a dick. That's it. I mean, I enjoyed The Rock okay in San Andreas, but he's done a lot better. I think Tommy Lee Jones did a fantastic job in this film. And I'll use that word perfectly fine. I'm sure, again, I know people will be pissed at me for saying that. But Tommy Lee Jones meets Anne Heche, and they look at this lake, and they see that it's gained up a few degrees than yesterday, and Tommy Lee Jones is like, okay, is that a big deal? And Anne Heche is like, yeah, that's a big deal. And you see sort of a little bit build up. I mean, there's this La Brea tar pits, and there's like an elephant statue that's slowly sinking down as it's being melted from underground. Pretty quickly, Anne Heche goes with her partner, and this earthquake happens, and this big blast from this fissure, and her co-worker, who's another female, she disappears, pretty much gets burned up, falls to the ground, not the ground, but falls and disappears to the fissure. At the same time, during this big earthquake, this one subway car gets fucked up, which will play later on in the flick. And then pretty much is a bunch of people's stories. There's Tom Lee Jones driving with his little girl. There's Don Cheadle at the control center. And again, some fun bits of dialogue where he has a hat and some guy gives him some crap on it. Oh yeah, your wife rolled over me and said the same thing to me when I was in bed with her. Actually, I fucked up the line. He said like, oh yeah, your wife who rolled up on me said the same thing. I mean, Don Cheadle, again, he said a lot better than me. And this is why, if 20th Century Fox were not 20th Century Fuckface, I would just show clips to better prove my point. But even another fun thing where a guy walks by and just touches his hat, is like, Don Cheadle goes, that's a pink slip. I mean, I think this film does have a good sense of humor because it knows, and I should have thought about this in the beginning of the review, now that I'm 13 minutes in, I know one of the big problems of the film is, come on, Matt, first off, that's not a volcano. What are you talking about? You just see lava. And I'm like, you see the volcano, there's the thing there. But it's not a mountain. I'm like, a volcano, if I understand, a lot of lava shoots out of shit. That's what's happening. It's a volcano sort of being, not quite being formed, but sort of its beginning. And then from the last shot, you see way in the background the formation of that volcano. I mean, the volcano is the fact that something is sprouting all this lava shit. I mean, if it's not a volcano, what is it? A fucking tornado? It's a fucking meteorite? I mean, it was a volcano enough for me. And then people are like, well, but it's in LA. That would never happen. I know, that's a movie. This is a movie, yes. But I think for that kind of idea, that's crazy. If you give me characters I like, Tom Lee Jones, Don Cheadle, Anne Heche, Keith David comes in later as a cop. Of course, Keith David from John Carpenter's The Thing and They Live and such. I liked those actors, and I liked those characters. And you give me very impressive special effects, which you get, because when the shit hits the fan, and the tar pits, steam shooting up from all the manholes, and you see all the manholes really getting shot up, and all the steam and smoke, and fireballs hitting everything, shooting out from the pit. Real fire. You know, real car crashes, fireballs, fucking up billboards, and Tommy Lee Jones driving with his daughter and narrowly avoiding this burning billboard. And at one point it gets quiet, deadly silent, and then a bigger eruption, and an entire building, all these windows just explode right onto the ground. Pew, pew, pew. I'm like, wow, that's real windows. It's real things exploding. It's not just CGI, PlayStation 5 video game. There's certain weight and tangible physicality that makes me get involved in the scene more. When I see real people and stuntmen on fire, that gets me more involved. When I see fireballs hitting down and making a fire truck flip over as a real fire truck on real fire, it makes me get into the scene more. And even this, sure, they probably had to digitally they probably shot the fire on a plate, the lava on a plate, what they use for it, which I remember reading somewhere, it's pretty much the stuff they put in milkshakes, which I'm thinking, isn't that also like the stuff they did for the Blob and Ghostbusters 2? Except, mix it about to make it look like lava. And if that's the case, that makes sense, because I like Ghostbusters 2 and I like the Blob. I think that stuff, great, I don't eat a lot of milkshakes anymore, or drink it, or however you utilize your milkshakes, but it's a cool effect. Okay, that's a way of using digital work effectively. But you also have around real fire. And plus, I thought they did a great job. I thought it looked like real lava. It looked like real lava was going down fucking LA. I thought it looked real. This is a 1997 film. I still think it looks real. The only iffy shots is... one is when Anne Heche, when her buddy disappears, she looks at the fissure when she's in the tunnel, and it's a little bit awkward effect when she looks down. There's a scene where one firefighter is trying to get into a truck to rescue a friend, and you tell that's the only time they did in the film. They speed up the film, but it's like 3 seconds long. There's a scene at the end where this big building is falling on Tommy Lee Jones. Well, it's not falling on him, but at the end, they gotta blow up this building to create a barricade, and his daughter and the kid's out there, and he's running to save her. There's one shot where it's an up close of Tommy Lee Jones running like this in the background. That's an iffy effect, or green screen, however you want to call it. Putting those two together, it's like an up close. I said 5, but those are the 3 that popped in my head. But most of but those like little scenes, most of it I thought looked real. I mean, it looked like real lava flowing down LA. That's a hard thing to do. They had a gigantic set, humongous set that looked like California, and you have real fire, palm trees on fire, and all this stuff. I thought, man, they really utilized, for Mick Jackson, a guy who did what, LA Story, which was a interesting romantic comedy fantasy with Steve Martin, and then you had The Bodyguard with Janet Jackson, Whitney Houston, completely different person, Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner. I don't know why I thought of Janet Jackson. I don't know. Maybe because for a split second I was thinking of The Taking of Beverly Hills, which has a song from Janet Jackson called Black Cat. I don't know. I don't know why. Because that's another film that takes place in California that I enjoy, The Taking of Beverly Hills, that I think is underrated, and I reviewed multiple times. But anyway, getting back to here, I thought the effects worked, and I thought a lot of it looked real. Isn't that the point? Isn't that the idea? And then you put a lot of real stuff in there. For example, the lava's going up, and there's explosions happen around, and it goes under the car that the little girl, Gabby Hoffman's in, and she gets out because the tires blow out because they're being melted, and then a fireball hits and burns her, and she's hurting, and Tommy Jones grabs her and gets on the vehicle, then jumps away to safety. It looked real. It looked like the car's really on fire. It looked like they were in the same shot of this lava, and to me, it looked real. Maybe because lava is not as intricate as, say, I don't know, an entire building which has tons of rubble and dust and particles. So that's CG. Or maybe because the CG is really like, what's the term called? Composites. Where, okay, we have the same flow, and then we have the people there. Now, we shoot the people, we shoot the lava, or the stuff made from milkshakes, put them together, and that's our digital work. But they also use miniatures, which I thought that's something that should be used more often, because there's a certain physicality to it. There's a certain tangible physicalness. That's even a word to it. But I mean, lava bombs hitting fuck up houses, and let's see, firemen getting burned alive, and all this chaos. And Tommy Lee Jones, after this, he's pretty much always in a rush, trying to do the best that he can in this crazy situation, and gives his kid to this female, the Asian doctor, and get them the safety. And Heche gets there, they talk, other people get there, and they pretty much have to figure out what the hell to do next. And like, what do you do when you have a fucking lava going down California? What do you do? What would you do? And talking about the sense of humor, like even Don Cheadle's in the command center and they're watching on the TV, and even Don Cheadle goes, "You guys seeing this shit?" When you see the lava going down, and even people when they look at it, they're baffled. They're not like, "Okay, let's do it." It's not like nonchalant. They know it's crazy idea too. There's a crazy thing too. And they're just doing the best that they can amidst all this panic and explosions. What can we do? Oh, here's a bus. Let's push the bus around it to try to slow it down as best as we can. You have a great scene where Tommy Lee Jones and Heche help this guy out who's hurt. And the guy get to the... Then this palm tree's on fire and it lands and the bus and it cuts them off and they can't escape. And the lava's closing in, and here's their fire truck with the ladder. And they get up there, but then the weight's too much, so they have to swing across and hold on for the ladder, swing across all this lava. And then the line's on fire, the hose line, and it's real fire. And a real guy has his real legs on fire. The guy that they saved, this poor guy, his legs are on fire, and it's shaking. They're trying to hold on as they're going across the lava, hoping to dear God this thing won't collapse and make them fall into the lava. And that's a real guy with real fire, real stuntman. I mean, I give credit. A guy who likes to, okay, put my legs on fire, I give credit to. And yeah, I really enjoyed that scene. And a lot of this, what I liked is cops and firemen, what were Tommy Lee Jones and Heche trying to figure out what to do next. It's not just we see one guy or two guys or three guys doing this. It's everybody working together. Like it would really happen in the situation. Think about how many disaster movies do you see where we're just following one or two guys, but no, it's a collection of all these firemen, cops, and such trying to work together. That's what most of the film is, and that's what I like about it. Oh, let's improvise. Dig up the street. You do whatever you can. Let's get some K-rails. And even some guy goes, "What, you really think this is going to work? This for flooding?" It's like, hey, it's the best I can do. I mean, even they know that's a silly idea. It's not like they go, "Yes, sir." And the only subplots that goes off is once in a while it goes to what Gabby Hoffman's doing, where she's taking care of these kids who their parents are nowhere to be found. And cute kids, they're not annoying. One's a little girl who can barely talk, like, hey. And a little kid, he's not annoying. He's just, a cute kid. And not in a fucking sick way. Just, I mean, Hey, if you want to have a kid, okay, have a. It's not an annoying kid. It's not. I'm trying to think of annoying kids in movies. The stuttering kid in Halloween 5, or the hell, even the everyone but Stallone in Daylight. Like Daylight, that's a supporting cast that sucks. I mean, Stallone's great. That's why I could deal with the film, because a lot of that stuff I love, especially Stallone and his performance and the music, and but the supporting cast, those are some unlikable motherfuckers that they should get melted by lava. But the cast here I thought works. Even the kids, I mean, they don't have many lines, but like one kid, they're playing a game, and one little kid goes, "Oh no, that's lava!" Like, why the fuck can't I think of the name? I'm brain dead now. Paper, rock, scissors. I'm not paper, I'm lava. What stopped that? I mean, but the kid does a lot better than me. I mean, and then she goes, well, I think my dad will. I hope. I mean, I thought the actors do a better job than me. That's why I'm not an actor. But either, again, I say subplot, but it doesn't take like 10 minutes away. Oh shit, we forgot we're a Volcano movie. No, it's like 30 seconds or 50 seconds or a minute. The other subplot is, remember I said the subway car that got stopped? Well, the guy who didn't want Tommy Lee Jones to... When Tommy Lee Jones told him to stop the subway, he ignored it. He and the group of guys go down there. They rescue a bunch of people. That guy gets the driver. And then he needs to get him to safety, but lava's seeping up. And he makes a self-sacrifice, jumps in the lava, throws the guy, and he melts to death. And it's kind of like, ooh, shit scene. It really is to me, because there's not many scenes in movies where a guy gets melted in lava enough for a PG-13 rating, but just the idea is like, ooh, shit. I mean, you know, this guy was not that big of an asshole. Hell, I mean, Mr. Fantastic in fucking San Andreas was a bigger asshole than this guy, so this guy wasn't that big of a douche. He wasn't that big of an asshole. He wasn't that unlikable of a character. And he does the right thing. He saves someone, self-sacrifices himself to save someone, and he gets melted to death pretty quickly, as you probably would by lava. And it's like, oh shit, just the idea, and then cuts back and there's just nothing there. It's like, I don't just picture myself in that situation. Oh man, being melted by lava. That's, again, that's not a death that you see a lot in movies. If you think about it. But yeah, they're trying to do the best they can using these K-rails, concrete and such to help make a corridor. Chief David, I like him. It's always nice to see him. And I remember he says, well, like, why don't we just knock down some buildings and block the sumbitch? But even the other people are saying, come on, really? These K... That's the thing. They're not going, yes, this is the way to do it. Even these other guys are saying, oh, come on, that's a Band-Aid on a broken leg. And he's like, well, that's the best I can do. If you don't like my plan, give me another, but I'm not backing out. Because this has all been museums and department stores, but it gets to a point where now it's going to be a bunch of people's homes. I'm not giving up on it. So Tommy Lee Jones is the heroic guy who's not giving a pompous, pretentious speech. He's like, if you don't like my plan, then tell me another. But I'm trying to do the best I can. You guys need to help me. What are we going to do? So they try to make a barricade to slow it down. And granted, I don't know everything about lava. I don't know what lava can eat through, can't eat through, can go through, can't go through. I don't know that because I live in fucking Iowa. There's not a volcano anywhere in the vicinity. Unless I have to look it up on the fucking National Geographic. I don't know, would that be on National Geographic? Maybe I should have said Discovery. See, shows how little I fucking know on the subject. Like outer space. I don't know jack shit about outer space except I know that you can't make noise and if you go out, you're dead. So whether it can or can't do this, I don't know. I'm not the fucking expert on it, and I don't care. I buy it. And even they go, oh, this is like Band-Aid on a broken leg, and they're trying to hold it as just enough time for the helicopters to come in with the water and dump it. And you see a bunch of helicopters come in, dump in the water, and I think it all looks good. It looks real to me. I thought it was very well done technically. I thought Mick Jackson, for being his first big effects film, at least based on his other credits, I thought he handled it very well. And there's not many volcano films in a city that looks good like that and has a capable cast and has a pretty fast pace. I mean, without the end credits, it's an hour and 40 some minutes, and it doesn't feel that way at all. Once I get done, and Heche goes, well, wait a minute, I think there's something else happening. The lava, some of the lava is actually traveling underground. Where does it stop? Oh, it stops where this hospital's at, where he's put his daughter, and a lot of people have been sent who are hurt. We have to figure out what to do here. He's like, well, we gotta make a trench that's this long, and we gotta knock a building down. And even they say, that's stupid. What are you talking about? You know, that's this big building. I forget the name of the building, but that's like a precision drop. You need to take weeks to do it. And Tommy Jones just goes, set a speed record. So it's not like the film ignores it, but I'm having fun with it. And the eruption happens, and it looks real to me, like the way they shot the lava looks real, and you have people, real stuntmen, being on fire for real, and when they blowing up the trench, you have nice overhead shots of the explosion. Explosion 1, boom, explosion 2, boom, explosion 3. And again, I know some people make fun of the ending. Oh, come on, that's so stupid. What, they're going to drop a building? And I'm like, what's so... Okay, let's think about this. They have nothing else they can do in this situation in the movie. I'm thinking as the characters. Okay, what can we do? We can either stay here and let the characters die, or, thankfully, there's an ocean over here. Let's blow up a trench so it'll go down that way. But so that it doesn't go back to the citizens, let's make a barricade between the citizens and the lava. So here's this building. Let's let it blow up and fall here so the lava is building up or trying to get its way through, and then by the time it's got built up, it'll just slide back down. It's like you get a pair of pancakes, and then you get the maple syrup, and you put it at the same spot. No matter how high it goes, it's going to dwindle down. Like a slide. It goes in the trench they made to the ocean. I'm like, I don't see a problem with that. I don't see what the big deal is with that, what people's problem is. And Tommy Jones is running, and it is a nice... I love the I guess you say the sky shot, where you see a tiny Tommy Jones running as this fucking huge building is falling down. And I think that it's a little bit of a funky effect, I think, because I would not be surprised if they blew up like a miniature building and then they had to slow it down so it doesn't go quite as fast. Like they slow it down for effect. So it's a little bit of funky looking, but I could deal with it because the actual building itself, I could tell it's physically there. That's not just a completely CGI building shot like nowadays. I mean, my only problems with the film is once in a while there's a little iffy effect. And yeah, some of the little subplots, you didn't need, what's the actor's name? John Corbett, who's a husband of, or a boyfriend of the Asian female doc, who's a dick. He's pretty inconsequential. Really, count on one hand how many minutes he's in the film. He could have been just completely taken out. The African American guy and the cop, and they have a little bit of teeny bit of back and forth, and then uncuffs him, and then the guy helps him up, lifting one of these things to block the lava. Or the end where all the ashes fall on everybody, and the little kid says, "Hey, look, they all look the same." And try, some deep message. Hey, we're all the same. Yeah, you didn't need that. But the stuff I mentioned are like little bits. Little bits. And those little bits do not nearly kill this movie for me. Not nearly. I mean, a couple iffy shots, and I do mean a couple. I mean, for me, only like 3 to 5. Uh, and even that last line from the kid, it's not the last line of the movie. It's not like The Rock, we will rebuild. No, the last line is, Tommy Lee Jones having fun with Gabby Hoffman. And I forget the exact line of dialogue. But I know it was a fun bit. I know, so fun I forgot, but I can't help it. I don't have the best memory. I can't remember every single line of dialogue in the film. But yeah, other than little teeny bits of stuff, I love this movie. I think it's has technically very well done, and it got no awards, no nominations for it, which is a fucking crying shame. Because I thought this was a technically well done movie. The special effects, the explosions, the fire effects. I mean, it's real fire, so. But I thought they were very well done. It really made me believe, wow, it was lava in LA. If Sci-Fi Channel had effects like these and had a cast that looked like they gave a fuck, then I would watch Sci-Fi Channel a lot fucking more. Tommy Lee Jones, I love him as an actor. And it was great to see him in this kind of blockbuster movie because he doesn't get to do a lot of blockbuster films. I mean, I love The Fugitive. I had fun with U.S. Marshals. But he doesn't, I love The Hunted. That's not really a blockbuster movie, though. But even all those movies I mentioned, they're not like this. I mean, he didn't get to do a movie like this. I remember reading on, I think IMDb, like, they approached Ed Harris or Bill Pullman for the lead. And I'm glad Tommy Lee Jones got it. I mean, I like those other actors. But hell, Ed Harris, I love The Abyss. I could see Ed Harris in that. Bill Pullman, I could see him in Independence Day for that. Tommy Lee Jones, this got to be, even though this film bombed, which sucks. It cost $90 million, which I see the money on screen with the big sets and explosions. And in fact, Dante's Peak cost more, and I think this film looks more expensive than Dante's Peak. Although Dante's Peak doesn't look like a cheap movie either, I'll admit that. Again, Dante's Peak grew on me. But it was kind of like, oh, that film gets a higher rating, that film got more box office, and that film got a little bit more credit than this one. So it's like, oh, Dante's Peak. But to be honest, both the films flopped. And no one talks about either film. But this one gets the shortest end of the stick. And this is, I mean, this is sort of the underdog movie. And they did that a lot, too. I mean, they were released like 2 Bug movies, A Bug's Life and Ants. 2 comet asteroid movies. You had Armageddon and Deep Impact. I know there's tons more, but those are the ones that come to mind. Yeah, 2 movies with volcanoes, Dante's Peak and Volcano. It's not a volcano. It's shooting up lava, and there's a shitload of lava and fireballs. It's volcano enough for me, goddammit. Fuck's sake. And I know there's a Blu-ray of this, but I don't know if I'll pick it up because it has a shitty cover. Great, I love the film, so if it has great picture quality, I'd love to have it, but at least this has a picture on the disc and has a little, not booklet, but it has some pictures and a much better cover. Like the other one has a shitty Photoshop of Tommy Lee Jones. But anyway, I thought the The cast works well. Don Cheadle, was nice to see him, before getting to the Marvel films and such. And Heche, she doesn't do a lot nowadays, and I thought she did a capable job here, just like I thought she did a perfectly fine job in 6 Days, 7 Nights. Gabby Hoffman, Keith David, nice to see him in. I kind of wish he would have come in a bit earlier in the film. He comes in about the hour mark, but it was still nice to see Keith David there. Alan Silvestri's score fit the film. I mean, it's not one of my favorite Alan Silvestri scores. I mean, that would go to Predator 1, Predator 2, which the score has grown on me, and some others, but I thought it fit the film well. And, oh yeah, Lauren Shuler Donner was actually executive producer on this, of course, who is married to Richard Donner. I don't know if they still are, but yeah, I thought Mick Jackson did a great job. I thought it was an entertaining film. I never really got the big hate for it. Oh, it's a stupid plot. I'm like, I know I fooled you, right? I mean, what? It's not, I mean, that right there tells you what the hell the movie's about. The coast is toast. When a tagline is the coast is toast, you know what the movie's about. It's not like the movie fooled you. But I thought it was handled very well. And, oh, didn't think it'd go 40 minutes, but fuck it. I love the movie. I'm fine with defending the film. Like, this is a film I would put up my dukes and defend, because, again, they don't make fun movies like this anymore, with great special effects, with a lot of practicality, physicalness, texture, tangible to the effects, real palm trees on fire with real fire, real stuntmen on fire, fireballs that create real fires, real explosions and car explosions and building exploding and sheets of glass flying everywhere, and even the lava itself looks great with how they did that. I would love to see a documentary on the making of the film, or an extensive look at the making of the effects, or I'm sure no one in the cast would talk about this film, but and yeah, this DVD is bare bones. Doesn't even have a trailer to it. So that's how much 20th Century Fuckface gave a fuck about this movie. And especially with the Blu-ray, which has one of the worst fucking covers I've seen, because it's just Tommy Jones running in shitty Photoshop. That's like, man, that's like kryptonite to me. I'm like, I love the film. Who the fuck's going to buy that Blu-ray with that shitty picture you have on the Blu-ray? You stupid fucks. The 20th Century Fuckface. Of course the fucks. Because they're fucking stupid. They're fucking dumb. But anyway, I'm sure there'll still be people like, oh man, I'm sorry, disagree. Fine, we agree to disagree. I'm sure there'll be people pissed at me for saying something as well. You like the film that much, but yet you hate this? Yep, and I still am even after you said it. Tough titty. I think this film is underrated as fuck, and I find it very enjoyable. And this is the kind of movie I enjoyed growing up, and they don't make movies like this anymore. And I think the effects hold up. I think the cast works well. I think it has a sense of humor to it. Again, the film ends with, I love LA. We love it. But yeah. I remember having a fun time watching this with my friends. I think one time I watched it with my friend Effrey, and he really enjoyed it. And then I think one time with my friend Mike. I think I did. I know I watched it with my friend Effrey one night, and he really enjoyed it. And I think he would feel this is underrated as well. I think my friend Mike, OCP, I think I watched this with him too. This was like a long time ago, years ago, and I think he liked it. So, I know he likes this more than San Andreas like I do. Fuck San Andreas. This is a hell lot better. Anyway, that's my long rambly review of Volcano, an underrated movie. Thanks for watching. Take care. And we will see you later. Bye-bye.